Hey, lovely to meet you, Christian.
Speech two. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You had a good day?
I did. Just starting here. We're not starting, but midday. I'm in Florida
Hmm.
on spring break with my daughters, so all good.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
Den of Thieves 2.
Yes.
We last saw Nick and Donnie back in 2018 with the original Den of Thieves. And it was clear from the ending of that film that there was always going to be a sequel. How much of an idea did you have for this second outing in your head already?
Well, I had quite a bit of it as a result of everything I do. I do tons of research, and in researching Den One, I came across all this, um, information about heists all around the world. So we knew that we wanted to. There was just too much information for one movie for 2 hours, one film. There's enough for like a whole series. So we knew we wanted to build a franchise from the beginning. We've been fortunate enough to be able to do so. So I had a pretty good idea of where I wanted to go and what kind of heist I wanted to get into with the second one.
Mhm, mhm. And it's been, I think, about 7 years since the first film. So that's quite a gap between the two.
Yeah.
Was there
Mhm.
anything apart from like COVID and the strikes that was getting in the way of bringing this movie to life?
COVID strikes, deal making, actor injuries. We had just about every single thing that could go wrong did. Just one of those things. We were ready to go just before COVID, then COVID hit. It was a year of that. And then there was the strike. Prior to that, I think, was an actor injury, knee injury that was bad. The film was very physical, so that wasn't going to work. Then there was another moment where we were going to shoot it in Serbia, in Belgrade, and then the war with Russia hit, and we wouldn't be able to house the crew because all the refugees from the war went to Serbia, went to Belgrade. So there's no room in any hotels or Airbnbs. There's nowhere to house anybody. So that was a delay. So it
Mhm.
was sort of one thing after the other. But we finally did it.
Yeah. Wow, that really is one thing after the other.
Yeah, it was crazy. So we were cursed for a while, but we finally made it.
Well done. So I wanted to talk a bit about Nick and Donnie's relationship, sort of
Mhm.
that cat and mouse dynamic is kind of like the emotional backbone of the two films.
Mhm.
Would you be able to talk a little more about how you specifically wanted that relationship to evolve in this film?
Yeah. So, um, within the heist genre, that this obviously the crime heist genre with that this falls into, every time we want to sort of explore a different kind of movie, and we knew we wanted to do just based on my relationship with the actors and the characters and their performances. I knew we wanted to explore more of a buddy movie. Um, and it was a lot of fun sort of exploring, Nick, what it's like for Nick to be in Europe and fish out of water, and what it's like for Donnie to be, we knew Donnie in the first one was bullshitting everybody, and now it's Donnie is a fully realized grown man and he is a gangster, and we want to see what that feels like when he is who he is, honestly, and then how those two then sort of butt heads, right, and how they look, and also how they kind of almost, uh, they'll fall in love with each other. They have a great sort of weird, awkward friendship. And the exploration of those dynamics was fun to do.
Mhm, mhm. Yep. And you brought back both Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr. for this partnership, and they're a great partnership on screen. How well did they get on away from the camera? I heard they were neighbors during filming.
Yeah, so we they got along great. So in the first one, Donnie was a part of the criminal robbery crew. Nick was, of course, part of the cops, the regulators. So I kept those two groups completely separate throughout production. They've never hung out, and I would hang out with both groups differently, separately, and that sort of built up sort of a natural rivalry between the
Mm.
groups, which was great, which played on screen great. And this one was completely different. So we made sure they lived next to each other. We shot it in Tenerife, Spain, the majority of it, and so in an area in the north called La Orotava, which is more kind of remote and beautiful, and we put them in two homes side by side, so that they spent a lot of time hanging out, and that paid dividends. That was just huge for the performances, and they just had a lot of time to get to know each other much better, and they really have a very close relationship and friendship now. So the three of us do. So that was a big help with the performances.
Mhm. So it was a completely different setup for this film then. For the first one,
Completely,
you're trying to keep
totally.
them away. This
Yep,
one, you're trying to keep them together.
correct. Exactly right.
Yeah. And what was it like for you as a director getting to work with both of these actors?
I mean, it's been great. We have we have a great relationship. We have a shorthand, and we have, just total trust with one another, which is huge. And that, then we're allowed to sort of explore things, right? We have, the script is, we work on it very carefully beforehand, so we know what we're doing. But when we're there, we hopefully have time to, improvise and explore things and try different things. And, on the day when we're shooting, which we did quite a bit of. So it's been very rewarding.
Were there any aspects of the characters that the actors wanted to explore that surprised you at all?
No, we had it pretty well mapped out, but just it's always just so pleasant to see them perform, and them deliver, on what you planned on doing. They did such a phenomenal job, and just that you never know what that chemistry is going to be like, that sort of unique kind of quality that you can't write or predict completely. And they just completely click. So to see that little magic was very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you said that you plan this to kind of be quite a global franchise. Is it you want to be in different countries for each film?
Yes.
That you've researched a lot of heists. So
yeah.
know now Den of Thieves 3 is on the way. Is there anything more you can tell us about that? And could there be more after that?
Yes, there could be more after that. Den 3 it'll take place on a different continent, different kinds of heists going on. We'll bring in different kind of criminal groups. So we'll continue to expand. It'll be expansive. And some characters will come back from the other films, and there'll be an introduction of a new major character. It's going to be a manhunter who's going to be hunting them down. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, wow. So you want to sort of completely flip that dynamic, because obviously in the first film, Nick is the hunter. Second film, he's kind of coming over to a different side. So you're planning to introduce sort of a whole new dynamic into this duo.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you said you always want this to be global, so it's going to be different countries for different films.
It's going to be a different continent, and it's going to become a little bit geopolitical. Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
Were there any particular additions for this film that you're particularly excited about with the cast specifically?
Oh, I mean, Avina Mod, I saw her in Snabba We were just all blown away by her. She was incredible. Everybody, Dino Kelly, Orli, Shuka. I mean, they're all just wonderful actors. Fortunato Sterlino, all the Italian Salvatore Esposito, from Gomorrah, and they're all just wonderful actors. They're incredible to work with. And again, all the characters as written are based on people that I met and got to know. So the casting was very, very specific. I just cast people that looked like the real people, that kind of had the same energy and vibe. And so that's what we did. And they were all had a lot of the real thieves there with us while we were shooting. A lot of the cops who were involved in the investigations and in these heists were there with us the whole time. So we're going for total authenticity. So and the casting was a result of trying to be as authentic as possible. It's try to recreate the reality of the world that I got to know during my research and my time over in Europe and in Antwerp and in France and in the Balkans. And so it was very exciting to cast all those great actors, and they fit the mold perfectly.
I think we're coming to the end of our time, but if I just ask one more question, which is, how did you find it? Because you said you did so much research. You had both thieves and cops on the sets at different times. How was it seeing both sides of this dynamic, and how did that inform how you approach the film?
I had that also in Den 1. It's phenomenal, and everyone gets along great. There's movies are like a passport to the world. It opens up doors that normally would not be open. So it's a very cool thing, and everyone got along great. We all had a blast working together. And I think that energy and that positive vibe filtered onto the screen. So it was a great experience.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Christian, thank you so much for your time. Thanks
for taking the
time to talk to me about Den of Thieves 2.
Of course, appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.